Hi guys, I am Ayan. I am joined by my colleagues Amol and Shayan, and we are here to review the final of the Ranji Trophy 2022-23 season, which got over early on Sunday. Saurashtra beat Bengal by 9 wickets at the Eden Gardens in Kolkata to win their second title in 3 seasons. Now, before we do a deep dive with Amol and Shayan, a quick recap of how day 4 unfolded. It ended up being a cakewalk for Saurashtra, really. It didn't start off as one. Bengal put on a pretty brave pace through their usual suspects, Manoj Tiwari and, of course, Shahbaz Ahmed. But then Jaydev Unadkat, well, being the champion player he is, came to the party and rose to occasion once again, took 6 wickets for 85 runs. And of course, there was a batting collapse which saw Bengal lose 5 wickets for just 11 runs. In the end, Saurashtra needed just 12 to win, and they got to the total with plenty to spare. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Amol, let's begin with you. Your opening thoughts on the match and how things panned out.
I don't know. It may sound as a cliche, but actually, the team that was more balanced ended up taking the cake. Simple as that. And not just in this match. In fact, right through the season. Talking specifically about the final, I thought there were a few murmurs whether Bengal have actually dug a grave for themselves by coming up with a green top. But that was the only option they had, right? They were a team which was riding high on those 3 pacers right through the season.
Correct.
If there was a contest, head-to-head contest between opposition spinners, Bengal were no match to Saurashtra, so that was a fair call. All I thought was Saurashtra just yet again showed why they have to be recognized as one of the domestic powerhouses across formats in not just in this decade but for the last decade. The kind of consistency they have showed and their tendency to rise to the big occasion again came to the fore. It's like when virtually everyone chips in a big game, the team invariably, most of the times or not, sails through. That's what happened in this 4 days, right?
Right, absolutely. Shayan, picking on from what Amol just mentioned about the wicket, do you think that's a backfired? But again, as Amol correctly pointed out, that seemed to be the only option that Bengal had in terms of as far as the conditions and the wicket were concerned.
You know what, Ayan, I kind of, while I agree with Amol, but I also feel what happened was because, Bengal was constantly thinking of, okay, we'll have a green top, we have 3 pace three, Ishan Porade, Akashdeep and Mukesh Kumar, and, we'll have that, everybody is in good form. What I think was lacking in the whole, in the discussion was about it lacked a plan B. I mean, look at 4 pacer and 1 spinner. Okay, on a surface, when you are winning the toss and the green top, the first half an hour in Eden Gardens has always been crucial. So, but once that was taken care of, we are already considered that factor. Then I think the planning, the team, what it lacked was it lack of a plan B. It didn't have a plan B. Because I think whereas Saurashtra picked a couple of spinners and it was very strategically done because they knew that after the first half an hour or 1 hour of play, things will eventually ease out. That's the traditional Eden Gardens wicket. Throughout the day, unless you make some mistakes or you play a bad shot, there's nothing much the wicket does, especially as the things dry out. But I think Bengal, what it lacked was it was constantly thinking, okay, we have the best pace battery, but I think you didn't have a plan B as if what would happen if you lost the toss. And that exactly happened. I mean, you are so focused on your playing to your strength that you actually chose to didn't really think about your weaknesses. And I think that's one small strategical error that actually cost Bengal the thing because they were thinking too much about the first winning a toss and first one session, like first 40 minutes, 45 minutes of that thing, basically first 6-7 overs. But then the moment the toss went in in Saurashtra's favor, things turned topsy-turvy and it was clear that Bengal didn't have a plan B. And I think this is what has happened.
Right. Interestingly, both Shan, you and Amol brought up team balance in a way, and this is not having too many spin options is something that troubled Bengal last season as well. We saw that against MP, where once their paces ran the course and they couldn't, really break through MP's ranks, they struggled because you could see only Shahbaz Ahmed picking up wickets. So the lack of options was hurting them, as opposed to say Saurashtra, Amol, who have, well, let's consider Unadkat also a seam bowling all-rounder at the moment. They have three options. They have got Chirag Jani, Prerak Mankad, as well as Unadkat. So those three, of course, not just with the ball but with the bat as well. And let's not forget in spin they have Parth Bhutt, they have Dharmendra C. Jadeja. So as you guys correctly said, as cliched as it sounds, Saurashtra on paper were more balanced, and that reflected in their performances as well. Guys, a word on Arpit Basavada. He amassed 907 runs and was the judged player of the tournament, and rightly so. Cheteshwar Pujara doesn't play too many games for Saurashtra because he's away on national duty. Neither does Ravindra Jadeja. But do you think it's time these players are celebrated more often? Of course, this is a topic that is discussed at length every year. But your thoughts on Arpit and his contribution this whole season?
Yeah, Arpit in so many ways sums up the entire domestic cricket ecosystem, and that in Saurashtra cricket as well. You may never, I'm not trying to be demeaning towards him, but if you cross paths with Arpit Vasada on a street, seldom will you feel that you are in, as in you just saw a first-class cricketer, a seasoned cricketer, if not a veteran, not that old.
Correct.
A clone in Cheteshwar Pujara's railway colony in Rajkot.
Yeah.
This season, finally he's batting. He is always one of those typical smaller team mindset cricketers who will be happy with 1 or 2 hundreds, but who will never have a monumental season. He has actually got rid of that notion about him. 900 run season is huge, right? This season, it's only Mayank Agarwal and Arpit Vasavada who have achieved the feat. Moreover, Arpit Vasavada this season, yes, on paper he was the stand-in captain, but of the 10 matches Saurashtra played, he led in 6 of them. Okay, that means he has had a lion's share. Obviously, it was Unadkat's thought process, but to actually implement it as effectively in Unadkat's absence takes a big deal, and that's why I feel this season should be remembered as much as Saurashtra's or as much as Mayank Agarwal's as it should be for Arpit Vasavada.
Correct. Shayan, your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't really have much to add to what Amol said about Arpit because he's summed it up well. I think one person that I personally would say that was almost a turning, played a very one of those impact cricketers of this particular season for Saurashtra as far as the knockouts are concerned, I think was Parth Bhutt, because let's not forget his contribution, because you are coming in at a time in the quarterfinal against Punjab, and Punjab is clearly dominating that game in the quarterfinals. You are coming out to bat when the team is leading at 47 for 7, and to make matters worse, you come in and you see a Snell Patel gone. Then you are basically 8 wicket down, and then from there on you score a 111 not out, and then you guide your team to 203, and that eventually changed the face of the match. You come and have a match figures of total 8 wickets, and then you might not have had the next couple of matches. You just have it as against Karnataka, he had a 0, but he took a couple of wickets against Calcutta also, just hardly got any opportunities. But then I think this is the beauty of Saurashtra cricket, because against Mumbai, that history that they created by defeating Mumbai, this fellow took 4 wickets in the second innings. So these are the small little names playing. Not like, just like Amol said, you wouldn't even know that this guy plays for Saurashtra. Suddenly he comes up and he delivers. 111 not out in the first innings, followed by a 51. That he was the man, one of the main reasons why Saurashtra actually qualified for the semi-finals. So these are the men who actually play a very important role. Arpit has always been consistent. A seasoned campaigner, and often gets lost in the shadow of his good friends, the Pujara and of course Unadkat in terms of leadership and all that. But then there are also people around him, like, there are people around the Park Boot, like a Dharmendra Singh Jadeja, who are always been doing that. Obviously, Dharmendra is more seasoned, but then, they're all doing that. So and doing it very silently, season after season. I mean, it is very, very, very interesting that, he sets his target that every season I made 45 wicket lena hai. I mean, if that's a attitude that you come up with and you execute that plan season after season, that speaks volumes over the team.
Well, both of you pointed out a very important aspect of Saurashtra's success. They seem to find a hero not just every match, every innings. Speaking of veteran contributors, of course, you've got Sheldon Jackson as well, who keeps scoring those big hundreds when needed. Not long back, during a game in Rajkot against Delhi, it's interesting, after cantering to a win, it was really a thumping win for Saurashtra. In a small team huddle, you had Jaydev Shah addressing the players before they left for the next game, and they brought up the age factor and how there's a lot of these guys. It's not a very young team. It's a team that's probably closing in on 30, or some of them are 30 plus as well. But they talked about performance. They said, as long as you perform, we've got your back. And that is the security of being in the team is something that all players have spoken about, and how that has helped them succeed in red ball cricket. Shan, speaking about Bengal, do you think that is one aspect that lacks there? Do you think the over-dependence sometimes on Manoj in batting and maybe a Shahbaz for his bowling as well as batting is sort of costing them in big games?
I mean, I'm saying this, I'm not sure how the Bengal fans will take it, but that's a reality. I mean, Bengal, yesterday when Anushtup and Manoj was, batting, I found it very interesting that at 37 and the 38 is actually, shouldering the batting department, whereas your top order has failed. Okay, and I think, Abhimanyu Ashwin has scored quite a few runs this season, has been in good form, but I think these are your moments. A Ranji Trophy final at home after 33 years. You have all the build-up. You have everything is ready. The stage is set. You just need to go and deliver there. I know it's a very difficult position to bat at. I mean, opening, against Jadev Unadkat, it's not easy early in morning condition. But then you're a seasoned campaigner. You've been playing this. You have been doing this for so many years. And this is your opportunity. Similarly for the debutant Shumanta Gupta. I know he's a debutant, but then these are the small moments. You are here, you're playing the Ranji Trophy final in place of somebody because team management believes that you have that talent, you have that potential. So I think these are the factors that we need to count. Because I'm really curious, or I'm really concerned about what will happen to Bengal once this Manoj or Anushtup actually retires. Eventually they will, if not this season, if not the next season, maybe a couple of years from now. Right. At 38, 39, eventually at beyond 40, I don't think they'll continue beyond 40, because obviously fitness comes in. Manoj, we all know how he struggles. I mean, it takes an immense courage to actually build. Push your injuries behind and then motivate yourself season after season when you actually know that there's nothing much to look forward to. It's only that one Ranji Trophy title. So I think the build-up is very important. Bengal certainly has talent. There's no doubt about it. They have Ishan Porel, they have Akashdeep, they have Mukesh, Shahbaz. But I think all they need is direction. I mean, I agree that you have played good cricket throughout the season. One of the fairly dominating teams. That's why you have come so far. You've defeated Madhya Pradesh at its home and all that is fine. But then these are your pressure situations where you have to handle. I mean, two Ranji Trophy finals in 3 years is actually a matter of pride. But then I think the youngsters need to step up and actually ideally they should have been handled, but the transition is going to happen very soon. So I think they need to be ready for that moment. That I don't have much time in hand. What I need to do from here is very important. So I think Bengal has the talent. It is time that some of the players who are now seniors, now they take the onus and build it around. Obviously, they'll have a coach, they'll have a support staff, they'll do all the things that can be done, outside the boundary rope. But inside once you're in the field, then you have to execute the plans. So I think that is very important, and there a role of Abhimanyu Ashwin or a Shahbaz or a Mukesh Kumar, the people who are slowly getting that experience, they need to stand up and take the onus.
Correct. Right. So yeah, the bottom line being, of course, both teams played excellent cricket and they found themselves in the final. Let's forget they met each other in the 2019-20 season as well in the final in Rajkot on a different sort of wicket. Saurashtra came out on top there as well. So credit to Bengal. Of course, they played great cricket. But as Shayan pointed out, there needs to be a succession plan in place and it needs to be implemented well. That is something that Saurashtra seems to be doing really well at the moment with Nutcut at the helm. Guys, before I let you go your ways, any moments that stood out from this Ranji Trophy season? It could be from matches of these two teams or something that you covered and has stayed with you. Any moments? Amol, you first.
Okay, sadly, I could not watch too many games from the ground this season, but that Maharashtra Mumbai, the West Zone arch rivalry, first innings ending in a tie. For a change, I was able to witness it the second time. When the whole world was watching Sachin Tendulkar's retirement test match, I was watching a Ranji game at another ground in Mumbai when Bombay and Delhi had a first innings tie. That is one moment to savor. And in general, I thought this bonus rule thing actually forced teams to play aggressive cricket. That was the biggest talking point because I was just calculating, if I'm not mistaken, in the Elite League of the 112 games, we have had 67 outrights. It may not be huge, but 55% is a substantial number, especially when the Ranji Trophy is not held at peak winter. When it started at the usual November window, considering that, and considering there were only two teams promoted from last season, this is a good enough number. There have been way too many close games or more importantly outright games.
Correct.
What's yours, Ayan?
Mine would be Amol. I was lucky enough to watch that game where Jaydev Unadkat took 8 wickets right after coming back from Bangladesh. I mean, it's an experience that's probably I didn't even do justice to it in my report because it's hard to put in words what I was watching. You go out, you just step out of the makeshift press box for a cup of tea and a wicket falls, and they just kept falling and falling. So that spell was just amazing to watch it live. Made it more special. And one more moment from the same game was the innings that Ritik Shocking played, who's now with Mumbai Indians. He showed why Mumbai Indians picked him. The application that he had, of course, he scored a 50, and by the time he came out to bat, the conditions had eased out a bit, but still to take a few blows from Unadkat and to stay his ground and to ensure that Delhi don't hold as neatly as one thought they would at the beginning was quite commendable. So, of course, Unadkat's spell and the way Shokeen batted, there were some really good shots, but overall, just his temperament. He is one for the future, and once again shows why Mumbai Indians have such an excellent scouting team. They found the right guy. It's about him coming good under pressure once again. Shayan, yours.
I think I was lucky enough to watch Prithvi Shaw's 379 this time in Assam, in Guwahati. Obviously, I mean, being the I think it was a very just similar to quite a few other matches that happened before or after that. It was a bizarre call by Assam to actually win the toss on a surface that had nothing for the bowlers, and then put Mumbai to bat, and then it was just Prithvi Shaw all the way. So just watching him bat for 1.5 days, and when it looked like that 400 is on the cards, the decision obviously didn't go Prithvi Shaw's way, and he was I must say he was unlucky, because obviously if you later on the reviews and all that, ideally the wishful thinking would be that you would want to have a DRS in every match, but obviously that's not possible. That's not there in place. But then Prithvi Shaw missed out on a 400, but I think that was a remarkable match. Obviously it was a fun, convincing win from Mumbai. But the fact that if you get to see one of those innings, when you maybe 4 or 5 years later, when you actually look back at the history, apart from the BCCI footage, obviously which you will not be seeing. So you don't have a footage of that match. So what you see is what you actually believe. So and Amengam actually made its debut, that debut ground as the first class, the men's first class ground. So for me that was one of the finest knocks of the season, and that's it.
Right. Okay, guys, that's all from us. Really, the highs and lows of an exciting season that saw some lopsided contests, that saw some really nerve-wracking matches, and in the end, Saurashtra, of course, took away the title. And we'll be keeping a close eye on the matches that come up. There's Irani Cup coming up as well. The third Test match between India and Australia will take place in Indore. Australia 0-2 down already. India have retained the Border Gavaskar Trophy, but have not yet qualified for the World Test Championship final. They will if they win one of the remaining two Test matches. So yeah, as you can imagine, and there's the Women's T20 World Cup going on as well. So plenty of action to keep an eye out for, and we'll be getting you all the latest updates. But until then, this is Ayan signing off along with Amol and Shan. Thank you so much.